Hello, everyone. I am here with Dr. SunAh Laybourn, and I am so excited because, as you all know, May is Asian American and Pacific Islander Month. And so we have some really exciting things happening right here in the city of Memphis that I would like to highlight and have Dr. SunAh Laybourn talk about with us today. So, how are you doing?
Hi, I am doing so good. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. So, as soon as I saw some of the publications go out and some of the different marketing materials highlighting all of the things happening, I was like, okay, all right, we got a full lineup of just different events we can go to. So, I was just
Mhm.
wondering if you could share a little bit about maybe the first event. I know the city of Memphis, had my notes pulled up here. I know one of the first events is that Memphis City Council will be doing that proclamation. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, I am so excited. Councilman Martavius Jones is sponsoring this proclamation, and it's just, formally, officially saying that Memphis recognizes the month of May as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Now, of course, this is a National Heritage Month, but it's very special to have our city acknowledge it as such because, for so long here in Memphis, we haven't had a lot of attention on AAPI Heritage Month. And, for me growing up here in Memphis, I don't ever remember, a lot of celebration or a lot of acknowledgement of the month. But now having this proclamation, I think it really sheds light on how important the city thinks our Asian American community members are. And just thinking about fostering that sense of belonging and inclusion, I think this is, one step in that direction for sure.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad you touched on that. You talked about how for so long, actually, there was nothing that really recognized Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month. And so, like, what do you think has changed? Like, has there been just more people demanding, like, we want to see representation in terms of the celebrations and the different
Mhm.
events that we offer? Like, what do you think has finally gotten folks to wake up? Hey, we got to recognize, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, as with anything, it just takes one person or a couple people who are like, we see a need and let's fill it. And, for me, it was one of those moments where, yes, Memphis has a very small Asian American population, a very long-standing, but still a very small Asian American population. So we're about 2% of the overall population of Memphis, but we've been here for over 150 years. And so for me, again, like being from Memphis, growing up here and not seeing much celebration or acknowledgement of this Heritage Month, and then a combination of things happening, particularly with the rise in anti-Asian violence and the attention that it has gotten, post-COVID, and those feelings of, oh, like, am I really seen, and not as a threat, not as a virus, but am I seen as a part of this community? Do I feel that I belong? And, last year, after we didn't really have any celebrations here in the city, I said, you know what? I don't want another AAPI Heritage Month to go by where we don't have some organized, coordinated events in the city. And so that's really how it started, with just me saying, like, hey, let's acknowledge our Asian American and Pacific Islander community members. And let's do so in a way where it is a celebration, where it's a time for all of us in the city to get together. And all the events are very much geared toward a general audience, right? Something for everyone. So the events like happy hours and movie screenings and art show. So things where it's like, maybe you're not even sure if you're into celebrating AAPI Heritage Month because maybe you didn't even know it was a thing, but you like good food, you like movies, you like art. So why not check out some of these events?
Yes, I love it. And that was going to be my next question. If you could tell us just a little bit about some of the events that are going on.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'd love to know a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a happy hour kickoff at Good Fortune, which I absolutely love that restaurant. And so I was so excited that they were willing to partner on this month. And so that is a ticketed event, but you get a variety of food and drinks included with your ticket price. So it's an absolute steal. And then we also have an art show, Asian American in the South, which is highlighting Asian American artists either from Memphis or who have ties to Memphis, and that's at the Museum of Science and History. We have a screening of the award-winning and history-making Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is going to be at Comeback Coffee, which I just thought was the perfect location because of the different events that they have. I thought this was just a great tie-in. And then I also have a documentary screening and discussion of the documentary Nailed It, which tells the history of Asian American nail salons in the United States. And this is in partnership with the National Civil Rights Museum's Unpacking Racism for Action program. And again, just speaking to wanting to have events where people, you like art, you like food, you like movies, but also maybe you have this question of like, why are so many nail salons owned by Asian Americans? And you never wanted to ask it out loud, or you didn't know even who to ask that question to. Well, this documentary tells that story, and it's a lighthearted documentary. But I think the answer might surprise you. But I think it just opens up a conversation to talk about Asian Americans, immigration, but also stereotypes as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you for that. Well, I got to tell you, you said something in the beginning too that I just want to go back to really quickly, that sometimes all it takes is one person to say, hey, we need this to happen.
Mhm.
And I just want you to know that I commend you for the work that you're doing. And this is like events happening that will be accessible to everyone in the city, all because of you helping to drive this work. So thank you so much for all that you're doing. And just know that, as a member of this community, how much I appreciate you and the work you're doing.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. And as Dr. Laybourn said, there are several events happening in the city. So please come out and join us and just have a great time celebrating with us.
Yes, absolutely. And you can see the full lineup of events at AAPI, heritagemonthmemphis.com. And I can't wait to see you all.
A bunch of women that were really specific. And at some point, I either looked up to these women or still do. So I'm looking at the list. I named Angela Davis, icon, Black Panther. And then I even talked about Condoleezza. She just brings a certain poise and grace to, her profession. And I talked about Phyllis Wheatley, and I talked about Audre Lorde, Maya Angelou. And I specifically said Harriet Tubman and Maya Angelou raised me because I have a great admiration for them. But yeah, every one of these women I named, I actually looked up to, or still do. I should say. So yeah, my entire life it has been like these women, and many other women that I didn't name. They have had a direct influence on me and saying, you know what, let me be a little more confident. Let me sit up straight. Let me show up in this room authentically the way Frida Kahlo would. Because, she did some outlandish, and she's not a Black woman, she's a Hispanic woman, but she did some outlandish stuff.
Absolutely.
And where people were like, this woman is crazy, but she still lived in her truth and artistry. And she was like, this is my art. This is who I am. Same thing with Nina Simone and Lena Horne. Serena, we watched Serena be great, and some of the things she had to go through, they shamed her for her body and shamed her. Oh, look at her, she don't look like these other thin European women, but she is who she is. She's great. And I think at some point, like, we all have to sit back and just look at other folks who have gone through similar things and say, you know what, how did they get to that point? And all of these women I named, most of them got to the point that they're at by living in their truth.
Right. Yes. I love that. Some of the stuff we're talking about, y'all, could be a whole episode on its own. And it probably will end up being that because, we could really go down some rabbit holes right now. But I'm not going to give you too much. But I am going to ask MJ this. I'm going to get in her business just a little bit because you are bold. You are what I would consider to be strong. We'll talk about your, disabilities a little bit. Or your ADA situations a little bit in one of the shows, but just being bold, being strong, being confident, being someone that has to be a voice, and occupying the space of being feminine. Okay, y'all can't see me, but I got a petty face on right now because it's annoying to me that it people act like if a woman speaks up, if she is a leader in her space, if she is confident, then she is doomed to a life of miserable, angry singleness, and she'll never have a man. And MJ's defying the odds because she's all of those things, and she's happily married. Like, she's bold, she's confident, she speaks her mind, she speaks her truth, and she's happily married to a man. So, talk about that a little bit. Is that a struggle? Do you feel that there is any struggle there, or that you get accused of masculinity because you're bold, or that you're dominating over your husband because you speak up in your workplace? People act like we don't know how to separate.
I know.
But anyway, I'll talk about that a little bit.
Toxicity of it all. But you know what? I'll tell you, I have not had anyone accuse me of dominating or outshining my husband ever. I think a lot of people know, like, that I'm naturally ambitious. So when they see me doing my thing, they like, oh, okay, that's just MJ. And even my husband and I, now we've had to have conversations in the past, like even when we were dating, I told him, like, look, I got big goals. I have big dreams. I want to do all of these different things. I want to be a CEO one day. At the time, I wanted to be a university president, but I'm good on that now. But the thing that made our relationship and makes our relationship so special is that he got it from day one.
Yes.
And it was never like, okay, I want you to downplay who you are to make me feel better about myself. Because the thing is, he has his own thing going on too. The man got, he got a PhD. He's working on another master's in data science. So he has his own accomplishments and his own thing that he does. He's more in the academic space. And of course, I'm more kind of in the spotlight because, I run my own company. But
right.
But again, I'm sure there are folks out there like, dang, she doing all the things. But I have never felt from my husband like he felt like, oh, you need to downplay. Because that would be a problem if he did. We probably wouldn't be together if he told me, okay, you're doing too much. I need you to like just bring it down a notch because I can't. This is a part of me.
Right. And so there's not any competition.
No competition.
You're not trying to outman him.
Never.
Y'all just working together.
We balance each other well. And you know what? And it's nice for me too, like to have those moments like, okay, I just worked a long 12, 13-hour day. Now I could just come home. I can chill. We can relax. We can have a glass of wine. I can cook, whatever. So, you know, I don't shy away from any of it. Like I know my life is a little busy and chaotic at times, but I fully embrace all of those identities, include the identity of being a wife.
Yes. Oh my goodness, I love it. Y'all feel so many different shows. We already have our shows lined up for season 2, but I'm just seeing pop-ups in my spirit, honey, because, you know, that's a topic that I feel like needs to be addressed. And it's, you know, strength is something that came out so much in your spoken word piece. That's what made me go down that road, is because you're talking about women who are strong, women who have gone against the grain, and you know you are one of those people that's going against the grain. For those you don't know, MJ is completely deaf, right? In one ear, and then is it the right ear?
So I can't hear out of the right ear, and then I can hear just fine in my left ear.
The left ear.
And
on top of that, she has dyslexia as well. So her whole life is defying odds. Okay, so there's no space in the universe where she is going to be sitting in a chair just being quiet. That's just not how she's made. And so I think that for people to put this crap out here that you have to be a certain way in order to have a healthy marriage or a healthy relationship, I think it's a slap in God's face for women that he made that are not just not at home just cooking and just, you know, being subservient. And there are men who, like you said, your husband, doing their own thing, who don't even want that. They're not even looking for somebody who won't speak up and who won't. So I just want us to dead that. You know, just cut that out, because I feel like that's a media inspired thing that we are falling for the okie doke on both sides, especially in the Black single community. Like we think men think this and men think we think that, and nobody's actually talking to each other to see what's really going on. It's just you get that one viral post and all the craziness underneath it, and then everybody's like, oh, see, these men want this, and it's like, do they really? Are they saying that? No. And these women just want to be men. Do we really? No. Is that what we're saying? Because I don't want that. You know, that's not what I'm looking for. You know, so I'm glad that you just kind of let the strength flow through your poem, because that's what made me go down that rabbit hole. But anyway,
and I appreciate you. And one thing I know, you just brought it up. You talked about like me being dyslexic and hard of hearing, and that has absolutely shaped my identity as well. And so I do want to put that out there and just say, part of the reason I'm not scared to be different is because I've always been different.
Right.
So, you know, it's like when you have all those intersectional identities and people see you as like, oh, well, wow, can she read? Can she hear? You know,
right.
There's these misconceptions, and like, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm just as much as I love to learn and read books like anybody else. But you embrace that. Like it becomes a part of you over time. And so much so where it's like, you know what? Society already see me as different anyway, so I might as well lean into that and do something that nobody else is doing. Be creative, be innovative. And so absolutely, that all of that shapes who I am.
That's what's up, man. So, okay, one more question for you. So you talked about one of the things that I loved about your piece was where you kept repeating, I am she is me, you know, just bringing that unity together. Talking about those giants and including Angel Reese as one of those giants, as young as she is, that sister is, you know, she going places, I believe. A lot of those young sisters are. But talking about Angela Davis and Phyllis Wheatley and Harriet Tubman, is there a fear factor that pops up in your mind from time to time as you are running your own business, as you are standing in front of people and occupying these spaces, that how do you deal with that voice that says the opposite, that says, girl, you know, shrink down, shrink back?
Yes.
Is that a thing for you? And if so, how do you handle it?
Oh, without question, it is. And I think any person who's ever had to be in a position where they're at the forefront of something, or they're leading it, or they're the face of a business, or the face of anything, you don't have to be a business owner to feel it. You could just be in some position where people see you. You're highly visible. There are going to be times where you're like, okay, I feel nervous. I feel scared. I hope this resonates with people. And just even some of those women I named, I know that they personally dealt with, like, because I'm trying to think of who all I named, but I know some of them have personally been open about their journeys and how they were afraid, but they did it anyway. They were brave anyway. Especially, it's no way you can tell me that Harriet Tubman went back that first time and was like, I don't feel any fear at all. I know she had to feel a little bit of nerves, a little bit of anxiety, but her mission was so strong. And she knew that her mission had to guide her through all of it, through the fear, through the nerves. And same thing with me. Like, I feel like my mission is so strong that I let that just guide me. Like, and, you know, in my faith in God too. So yeah, I'm absolutely always in positions where I'm like, okay, do I need to pivot? Do I need to do this? Am I doing this right? Will this, you know, resonate with folks? But at the same time, because I know that my mission is so strong, I'm like, I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That is a beautiful thing. And I'm going to answer my own question a little bit on that one.
I was going to ask you that one too.
You know, because sometimes as a therapist, people think that you just have it all together and you don't deal with some of these same issues. But I absolutely deal with that, you know, that fear, that idea of, you know, I could sit in a spoken word piece and talk boldly and believe it. But that doesn't mean that the negative thoughts don't come as well. And even this morning, like, you know, you really gonna say that in the poem? And it's like, yes, I really am, you know? So you can't stop thoughts from just popping into your head, but I am a firm believer in challenging your thoughts. Yes. And if it's not something that's beneficial to you, if it's not helpful or healthy, keep going anyway, you know, because you're going to feel that nervousness. You're going to feel that, ooh, I shouldn't do this. But a lot of times that shouldn't is something that you learned from outside of yourself. It's something that society would say. It's not something that's organically a part of you. And so I just try to deal with that by, you know, pressing into who I am, to the authentic me, not that me that is afraid or that is, you know, negative or whatever, because that's not really who I am. I have to press into the authenticity of myself in order to keep going. And another thing too, I think it can be painful when you are a truth teller, you are a change maker. It can be a scary space when you are the one with the microphone saying things that other people are just thinking. But for me, I've gotten to a place where it's more painful not to say it. It's more painful for me not to walk in my purpose.
You are the word.
It's harder for me not to do the things that God has called me to do. It's harder for me to sit still than it is for me. It's like choose your heart. Choose your heart. Either you're going to walk forward, you're going to, you know, I'm talking to everybody right now. You're either going to go to that new job and not know what you're doing and figure it out, or you're going to have to deal with the heart of staying where you are. Yes. You know, you're going to have to, you know, deal with this hard or this hard over here, the hard of walking in your purpose, or really the misery of not. You know what I mean? You can deal with hard, but who wants to live a miserable life? Right. So I think that's how I deal with some of those fears and stuff that kick in. It's like, well, honey, I can't stay here. Like, I know it's scary to keep walking forward, but we can't stay here and we can't go backwards. So
you can't. And you know, one thing you said during your spoken word piece that I love, you said that, you know, you had to unlearn and learn. And we underestimate the power of unlearning. A lot of times we always focus on, oh, you got to learn how to become better, learn how to grow, learn all of these different skills. But how do you unlearn some of these behaviors? What does that look like? And I really appreciate that you talked about that, because I know even for me, there's still some things I'm unlearning, like certain mindset things where I'll be like, okay, all right, well, money doesn't grow on trees, and you know, just certain negative stuff like that. And I'm like, you know what? I need to get that out of my thought process, because that's not in alignment with abundance.
Right. Exactly.
Because I'm automatically thinking lack. Like, okay, I don't have it. What do I do? Oh, I don't have enough of this. I don't have enough of that. So just me unlearning this whole idea of just lack, you know, is a process. So I love that you touched on that. Because, you know, we're constantly growing and becoming better as women. So, I appreciated that a lot.
Absolutely. That unlearning, I think, is something that it's mandatory. you got to do it. And it's hard because you got to challenge. It's a challenge to the people that taught it to you. You know, you love them. You want to honor them. You want to respect them. But sometimes you have to challenge what they said. And it's like you got to eat the fish and throw away the bone. So it's like I can love, you know, my parents, grandparents, or whoever passed down some of these messages and still throw away some of the stuff that they said because it didn't even fit them. And so, you know, they just lived with it. But it definitely doesn't fit me or my goals or my dreams, you know. So I'm definitely going through that same process of unlearning. There go another episode because we need to talk about money. We need to talk about money, you know, because in order to get some more of it, you're going to have to unlearn what you think about it right now. Bottom line. So,
yeah. Well, let me ask you this. Like, what are you looking forward to this season? Because I know the first season, and by the way, I just want to share this with our listeners. So we're not recording on Zoom anymore. We have upped our game. We are at Kazuki Studios here in Memphis. And so we decided that we wanted to really elevate our show and, you know, reach a wider audience. And we knew that like the quality of the sound and just the quality of our show needed to reflect that, like who we're trying to reach. So we are, you know, officially recording in Kazuki Studios. So shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to the team.
And yeah, for season 2. So like, what are you excited about this season?
Wow, that is a loaded question.
Because it's a lot.
I think the topics push the envelope way more than they did the first season. Mm-hmm. And I think that is what excites me and it's what scares me.
Yes.
Right? So and I'm happy about that. I'm glad that I'm not feeling 100% comfortable. Come on, say amen, somebody. Amen. I feel a little like I'm sitting on hot coals a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, and I think that's good because to me, that means you're growing. It means you're changing. I'm not 100% settled in, right? And so I love that feeling. And season 1 was great. But I think we were kind of getting our balance. We were trying to figure things out. And now I think we both have changed so much and life has thrown so many different curveballs that I think it's just going to be even more of us being ourselves this season. And I think that's going to scare both of us a little bit. And I think that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to those. I cannot believe I said that moments. That's what I'm looking forward to because we have some topics that's going to bring some of that stuff out. And we have some things that are taboo that you're not supposed to say that. You're not supposed to go down that avenue. And we are going down it, you know, foot on the gas.
Yes, we are.
So that's what I'm ready for.
I know me, like same thing. I'm really excited about the topics as well. And yeah, I even thought about it. I was like, I know like for a few of these episodes, I'm probably going to have to bring a box of tissues up in there because I might break down and I might, you know, really open up in a way that I have not done in the past. Because even now, like it still takes a lot for me to feel like, okay, just let your guard down. It's okay. It's safe. Nobody is here to harm you. Just, you know, it's just you, BJ, and people who have supported the show and who are listening. And let your guard down a little bit more. So yeah, this season I am like going to reveal some things that I've never shared with anyone about just certain things that I've experienced in life and how it made me feel, how I've had to process and overcome those obstacles. So yeah, I'm gonna be very real this season.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, there's something to be said for what you just mentioned, that we do have a safe space with each other.
Right.
And we have a safe space in the studio. But once we hit that release button, we're not in a safe space anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, once we put it on Spotify and Google Podcasts and all of our other platforms, we open ourselves up to the world and to the criticism of people, to the celebration and criticism of people, right? And I think, but that's mandatory.
It is.
You know what I mean? That is mandatory. That's when lives start to change. Is when you put yourself out there and you open up for people to give their opinions.
Yes.
And so for me, it's been, I am going to speak more because we're in a safe space in here, but also realizing that out there is not a safe space and that's okay. I'm going to be all right.
I love that. You know what? I didn't even think about that part. Like, we opening ourselves up to criticism. I guess the guy was just like, well,
So,
all right. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I think it takes a certain level of courage to do what we're doing. But we're coming with it this season, y'all. And yeah, please be sure to tune in every week, because I think this is probably gonna be the best season yet, and we're only in our second season, so of course
it's gonna be though.
Like I said, that like we had like 20 seasons before this, but no, it's gonna be a great season, and I think there is gonna be a lot of transformation that takes place, and we're hoping that we can engage with you all too as we post our podcast episodes every week, that you can reach out to us and let us know what your thoughts are and what your experiences are. And we're really hoping to have more of a connection with everyone this season as well.
Absolutely. And there have been people, shout out to the faithful followers. There have been people that have been waiting, that have been like, okay, we ready, that somebody, whenever we say, all right, we coming back, they'll be like, we ready and waiting, so, shout out to those people who are looking forward to what we have to offer, and then those new people who are coming along. And I just want everybody to keep in mind, the goal here is healing. That's what we're looking for, spoken word, unspoken issues, collective healing. So that's our mantra. That's what we're going after. And you have to acknowledge things before you can heal from it.
Yes.
And sometimes healing is painful.
Mm-hmm.
The healing process itself, you go through pain. Even when you're physically healing from something, you go through some pain during the healing process. So some Band-Aids are going to have to be ripped off of ourselves. We're doing it first for ourselves, and then for our listeners as well. So I'm just looking forward to it. You all follow us, MJ and the Word Podcast, on Instagram and Facebook, so that you can connect with us. Make sure you follow us on wherever you listen to your podcast. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss a week, but we would love to get your feedback, good, bad, and ugly. Honey, bring it. Now, we're not going to go back and forth with you in those comments, but we do want to hear what you have to say.
We ain't got that kind of time to be arguing with folks. Yeah. But yeah, definitely check us out this season and follow us, like BJ said. And yeah, we look forward to connecting with all of you all this season, and tune in every week.
That's right. We got some hot topics lined up. I'm fighting it now because I want to tell y'all what they are, but I'm not going to tell you. But we got some things. Y'all, we just got some things. It's just time to deal with some things. And we are going to really we're coming out the gate getting personal. Yep. So this first episode, this is personal, and we're about to get even more personal as the season goes along. So stay tuned, man.
Stay tuned, y'all. All right, y'all. Y'all be good.
All right. Take care.